Multiplication we can show on a grid, and we can show that we get top times top and bottom times bottom. So if I show my 2/5 fraction, I can show my 2/5 fraction along the horizontal, and my 2/5 is right there. And I can show the 3/4 fraction here, and I know that the area then that I need to work out is going to be this rectangular area here. So length times width. And I can see that the top times top is going to give me the 6 parts. Okay, so there's my 6 parts here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And then the bottom times bottom would give me the 4 parts along the vertical, 5 parts along the horizontal, and that gives me my 20 parts whole. So bottom times bottom gives me the 20. Okay, so there's my answer, 6 out of 20. I can simplify this by dividing the common factor, and I get 3 out of 10. So 6 out of 20 or 3 out of 10 would then be the correct answer, and we can see that from the grid. So 1/6 times 2/3, well, 1/6 is going to be this length here. The 2/3 is going to be this length here. So then my area is going to be these 2 parts. So I can see that 1 times 2, so there's my 2/3. 1 times 2 gives me the numerator of 2, these 2 pieces here. And then the 6 times 3 gives me the denominator, or the number of pieces that make up the whole one area. Again, I can simplify this fraction by dividing the common factors out, so I get 1 out of 9. Okay, we don't necessarily have to divide the common factors because we can see that the answer, the area, is going to be 2 pieces out of the 18 parts whole. So this area model allows us to justify the rule, top times top, bottom times bottom when I'm multiplying fractions. Times on top, divide on bottom. So for this one here, top times top gives me 3 in the numerator. Bottom times bottom gives me 14 in the denominator. Here, top times top, we get 3 times 5. Bottom times bottom, I get 2 times 7, which is 14. And I'm going to leave my answers in this improper fraction form. Okay, you can leave your answer as 15 over 14. Dividing fractions, we don't want to divide. We're going to change it to its opposite, multiplication. When we do that, though, we just have to remember that if we do an opposite, we have to balance our opposite with another opposite. So we're going to flip the fraction. So the second fraction, 3 over 4, becomes 3 on the bottom, 4 on the top. Now it's a multiplication problem, and we end up with top times top, bottom times bottom, and there's our answer. Here we're going to do the same. We're going to change that divide to times, times on top, divide on bottom. That divide by 2 ends up on bottom. The divide by 3 ends up on top. So we flip that second fraction. Top times top is 3. Bottom times bottom is 12. We can simplify that fraction into 1 over 4. We're going to divide the top and bottom by 3. So same thing here. We don't want to divide, we're going to times. So if we times, we're going to flip that second fraction. So we end up with 4 over 2. We end up with 16 over 20. So there's our answer. That can be simplified by dividing by the common factors. And our simplified answer is going to be 4. 16 divided by 4 is 4. 20 divided by 4 is 5. So same thing here. We're going to change that divide into multiply. Times 1, divide 5. Times 4, divide by 1. And then we end up with 4 on top. 5 times 1 is 5 on bottom. They don't share any common factors, so there's my final answer, 4/5.